myself am a huge, fantasy sci-fi nerd. And that's exactly what the movie is. It's a fantasy sci-fi and it's a new IP. It's not a rehash of something that's already been done. It's not, the movie of some book or series. It's its own thing. So it was really, really exciting to get to be part of creating this new world, this new universe with Zack Snyder, who, like you mentioned, has many installments in mind. Whether or not they come to, fruition or become reality, we'll see. That depends on Netflix and the viewers and the fans and all that stuff. But it's very exciting. Absolutely.
It's, and it's a very exciting month for sci-fi in general, with the Dune out as well in terms of that, and that's been a revelation. Sci-fi seems to be on everyone's mind at the moment, and once sci-fi is a massive hit, normally people just want more. They get a taste to grow for. So you're coming out now basically on the back of Dune, people feeling a bit of lull after Dune is over, and lo and behold, you're going to fill that void.
Absolutely. I mean, yes, not that we can step into Dune's shoes necessarily, but it's a huge production. There's hundreds of millions of dollars involved. So in that sense, I guess we're at least in the ballpark. But Dune is a fantastic property, and they did a really good job with it. I just watched all of the first season of Fallout, which was also amazing. I really enjoyed that, and I play the games, of course. And Rebel Moon, it's nuts for me to be like a small part in all of this. And I love being a nerd and alive right now. There's so much fun sci-fi, fantasy, history, all that sort of stuff coming out, and they're able to do it really well. The CG is great, all the costuming, everything. They're just so good at it now that we get to see all these cool properties that maybe we wanted to have made it to films, or just new stuff, or historical epics on a scale we've never not well, we have seen it before, but like in a really well done way. And I love it. It's a good time to be alive if you're a nerd.
Yeah, and I suppose Thor. We can look at some of the names just in this cast is amazing. But one of my favorite actors in this cast, and I just remember him back playing alongside Leonardo DiCaprio on Blood Diamonds, Djimon Hounsou. An
Yes.
credible actor, a gifted sort of actor in some of the roles he has played. It seems that this guy can put his foot into anything, dip into the gravy bowl, and it comes out tasting sweet. There's never a sour moment when Djimon is playing a role or he's in a scene.
Yeah. No, Jaimin, as he is known here, he was always a sort of a hero of mine. I mean, he did Amistad, he did Gladiator. That was a huge inspiration for me when I was a kid. Blood Diamond, like you said, like these are great movies. And to be able to do a movie with him, just to be in it, was great. But then I was fortunate enough to have a scene with him, where I get to act opposite Djimon Hounsou, and I'm just like mind blown. It was great. Not only that, but obviously, if you've seen like Gladiator and you've seen him just be awesome in all these movies, one of the things he does is like give, kind of well, I'm not sure he did a lot of that in Gladiator, but like he at some point on set gave us like the battle speech.
Yeah.
He has to motivate us villagers to prepare to lay down our lives and give everything for our homes. So it's Jaimin Hanzu giving the rallying cry, the battle speech rallying cry to me, and I'm standing there on set just pinching myself because he was a gladiator, which is such a huge thing, and now I'm here doing this with him. It was a dream. It was great. I had to remember that I had to be present, and like I'm also have a job. I have to act and pretend like all these other things, but also, oh my God, Jaimin Hanzu. So
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah, it's definitely the pick of the bunch for me, I know. But I tell you, remind our audience as well about your character Hjalmar, in terms of people might be just flicking their minds in terms of Rebel Moon, Child of Fire, and saying, "Yeah, I remember that character. I remember that name." And tell me, how does his story progress from a Child of Fire to what we see him now in the Scargiver? Without.
Yeah, so it was originally a very small part. It's supposed to only have one line in the movie, but I ended up being in both movies, and we shot, both of these movies were shot back to back, which is why they were able to come out so close together. It's only about a 4 month between, we premiered in just late December, and
Yeah.
then this one came out mid-April. And my character, Hjalmar, in these versions, we don't see as much of him as we will probably see in the director's cuts. But it's, these are small differences. It's my main thing is I'm one of the villagers that we sort of get to know. There's a line here and there. I mean, always in there when we're discussing like what are we going to do now? Who's going to lead us now that they have, I don't know if I want to. I'm not worried about spoilers too much. It doesn't spoil too much, but like they come in, they do bad things to our village, and then they have to go get heroes to help defend our village against this evil threat, right? So I'm part of the process the whole way, and then I get a really a couple of cool things I did with Jaimin in part two, where you see me a lot as we're setting up the defenses, and I have a scene with Jaimin where he pulls me out of the trench that I've sort of just dug, and I've set up explosives along this trench, and it's really quick. It's just like it's all set and everything, and me and him, or he sees off of me that we're seeing like a dreadnought battleship in the distance, and this sort of triggers what's going on. And then I in a way represent what the sacrifices that the villagers have to make to sort of sustain this battle, and how much they have to give. So there's a poignant scene, my moment of glory, if you will, a little bit later in part two, that ended up working really well, and is intercut with Jaimin and Stasnair, who's also great, doing their fighting on their end, and we see what I have to go through on my end, and then all that sort of succumbs to an epic, tear-wrenching conclusion. So it goes from being the humble farmer who is just wants to be left alone, realizes that's not an option, wants to fight and contribute however he can, and then ends up making the ultimate sacrifice.
You're almost like a rebel guerrilla fighter in terms of
Yes.
that, and always sort of trying to become a leader of the pack, dare I say, of these sort of resistant forces.
Yeah, in a way, I would say I represent the spirit of what we're trying to accomplish as the villagers, those who want to fight and contribute.
Yeah.
Which was I was very lucky to get to do. I mean, it was fantastic.
And Thor, I suppose, in terms of Rebel Moon, the Scargiver, is it bigger, badder, bolder, more explosions, more in
Yes,
your face? Does it
yes to
do they
all.
do they crank it up a few gears in terms of let's bring the big, the bad, the naughty?
Absolutely. Rebel Moon Part 2 is definitely the bigger batter of the bunch in that way. And of course, in the director's cuts that will be out, both of them this August, as far as Zack Snyder says, they will do that even more. It's going to be even more adult, and they're going to go more into detail about these characters that we can meet. Hopefully, some more stuff about the villagers and the interrelationships there between the villagers and the heroes, and the villagers themselves, sort of as they get to know each other and form a strong bond in the preparation for all this, which we don't really have time for in the 2 hours that Netflix wanted for the PG version. So in the director cut, we'll see even more of that and get even more, hopefully, emotionally invested in the story and everyone's parts.
Yeah, and I suppose Thor, on your time on set, when you weren't acting and saying your own lines, did you have the deck chair out, the sun chair out, the popcorn, and watching all the fantastic stunts that were portrayed going on the movie? And did some certain stunt scenes, watching them up close, did it sort of blow your mind? Even though I suppose with CG and green screen, you can nothing is surreal anymore in terms of that, but did see some of the stuff that you saw as an actor getting seated as sort of say, oh crikey, I like the look of that, I'll
Oh, a
stay and watch a
hundred
bit more.
percent. 100%. I mean, it was on set that summer. It was very, very hot. We had almost 100 degrees on many of the days, which is 42, 43 Celsius. And we're out in basically the desert in north of LA. And just the stunts and the practical effects that were used, like they have an actual dropship, a real one, and then they make a couple of special effects one, and they have real explosions where stunt guys are getting blown up or thrown into the river or whatever it is, and